Good evening, one and all, and welcome, Dominica, the Eastern Caribbean, and the world to another wonderful, informative, very educational episode of Standards in the Spotlight, brought to you by the Dominica Bureau of Standards on national broadcaster DBS Radio. I am your host, Joseph Fadul, and tonight we will be talking about a topic that touches all of us, especially as we approach the independent season. You use it, I use it. Probably today, you may have used it or not, but I know I did use it today. It's single-use food packaging. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Single-use food packaging. Now, you may remember that the government of Dominica issued a ban on single-use plastics used in the food industry in 2019. Now, to manage the entry of alternatives, the Bureau introduced a biodegradable certification program. I remember Keisha was on. I believe also Naomi was on with us for that particular program as well. And this program ensures that the single-use food packaging coming into Dominica is truly biodegradable and safe for the environment. Biodegradable, of course, meaning that when you throw it, it does not affect the environment and it breaks down, naturally. All right. Now, with us tonight is Mr. Heinrich Anselm, the officer at the Bureau who is responsible for the program. He joins us from now, and of course, he's going to be speaking with us for the program. We'll discuss how it works. We'll discuss what businesses need to do and why certificate of approval is so important before importing and selling biodegradable single-use packaging of food. Welcome to tonight's program right here on DBS Radio. This is Standards in the Spotlight, a program, of course, of the Dominica Bureau of Standards. We will be back in 1 minute right here on DBS.
Ever start to wonder if you're really getting a full gallon of fuel or the exact weight of your purchase of fresh produce? Make sure you're getting what you pay for. Look out for the Bureau's green sticker at fuel pumps or anywhere you come in contact with a scale. The Bureau's green sticker means tested, verified, and certified. And you're getting a gallon for gallon and pound for pound. From city to countryside, the Bureau's green sticker guarantees safe, fair trade wherever you go. Visit www.dominicastandards.org or call 235-1592. If you have a scale which has not been verified, please contact us.
Welcome back to the program, and I would like to welcome the guest for the evening, Mr. Heinrich Anselm, Technical Officer for Quality Certification Unit at the Dominica Bureau of Standards. What's up, Mr. Anselm? Welcome to Standards in the Spotlight on DBS. What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm Fadu, and I must say a pleasant good evening to our listeners on DBS Radio. And I'm always happy to be on DBS Radio to speak about standards and the Bureau of Standards.
It's been a while you've not been on.
That is true.
It's been a while. I don't think you've been on for any of the programs this year so far. I don't think you've been on. I think you were maybe on, just a few programs last year. So this is actually the first time that you've been on for the year. So it's good to have you back to talk about something very, 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 very important. Let's get the ball rolling with our, very crucial topic tonight, because independence is approaching. But I don't want our listeners to think that, hey, they come on the radio and obviously because independence coming up, that is right. No, because I can tell you, being the host of this program, we have always spoken about this particular topic, especially since the fact that, what the government implemented in 2019 up to now. And I know the Bureau has put things in place to ensure that if you're bringing in biodegradable material, it's the right ones. If you're selling you have to sell the correct ones. Now, so let's talk a little bit about the history of that. Let's bring a bit of the context. Especially for the listeners who may not be too familiar. When we were talking about it back then, they may have missed the program. Tell us a bit about the ban on single-use food packaging and why was it necessary?
Well, you mentioned some of the reasons for the ban earlier on, but on January 1st, 2019, our government decided that we should ban all styrofoam products and also plastic material that is not biodegradable. And the Bureau decided to be part of that program as a standards body to provide importers with the correct specification for what should be imported, and to also to collaborate with various agencies to implement the ban. And we developed what is called the biodegradable certification scheme, and we did that scheme to ensure that the right packaging material is being imported. The ban in itself is a very, very, very important ban in other words, to protect the environment. That is the key. That is the key reason for the ban. And we all know that we call also the Nature Isle of Dominica. And we have noticed a lot of pollution in certain parts of Dominica, close to our rivers, our streams, on the beaches, etc. And it is usually littered with single-use packaging materials, plastic forks, food containers, etc. So the ban in itself will provide an alternative that is more biodegradable and environmentally friendly. So we are not promoting pollution, but we are what the ban will do is that if in case persons pollute the environment, the material they leave behind will easily disintegrate into the environment. So our forks are now biodegradable, our cups, our different containers, and if they are left in any area of the environment, we know for sure that they will disintegrate at a much faster rate. In addition, our landfill, I know we have had fires, we have the landfill it's difficult to manage the landfill. And the reason for that is because some of the material it does not disintegrate at a rapid pace. So we are actually helping the landfill by providing an alternative form of packaging material that when it is disposed in the landfill, it will disintegrate at a much faster pace. And the ban in essence will give us an alternative set of packaging materials that are more environmentally friendly.
No, I want to ask you, people, I know at DBS, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, it's just to kind of elaborate and kind of broaden a bit more for our listeners. People might not understand what the term biodegradable is, because I know we have at DBS especially, we have quite a bit of the audience who listens. They are the senior citizens, a lot of them. And some of these terms are I don't want to say modern term because they've been around, or they might not have known them in that way. They know them as other ways. You throw something, it decomposes or something like that. But what can you sort of give us sort of a breakdown of what does biodegradable mean?
Okay. Well, biodegradable means is that a particular material can, because of its composition, means it is plant-based. It is almost like a plant material.
Okay.
So it is manufactured from plant materials. Sometimes you see PLA on a particular container. That is polylactic acid, which is an acid made from plants. So that type of acid or any material with more organic material in them will not immediately, but over time, it will disintegrate much faster than a material that has less organic material in it, meaning less plant material in it. So that's what biodegradable means. It is able to disintegrate, biodegrade into the environment at a much faster pace.
Okay. Earlier on, you mentioned styrofoam and plastic materials. Were these the only two types of materials that the ban took effect on in 2019?
Yeah, it's styrofoam and plastic that are not biodegradable.
Okay.
Because they are biodegradable plastics.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yes.
what we are encouraging is the importation of biodegradable plastics.
All right. All right. Now, obviously, the bureau had to, it had to, come in. It couldn't just be, just a policy implemented by the government. It had to have somebody who had to sort of take charge and say, well, okay, you know what? We have to monitor, we have to make sure that what is coming in is the correct thing. That's why, of course, there's the Bureau of Standards. What role does the Bureau play in ensuring that, the single-use food packagings that enter Dominica, one, they're safe, because we don't want to bring in something that, well, next thing you know, we hear he used the biodegradable one, but it wasn't safe. And what are some of the compliance measures that the Bureau had to come up with, probably, to make sure that they are safe and people who are bringing them in and selling them, they're compliant with what they have?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, we have implemented and developed a certification scheme. We are also, in our inspection unit, we also do import monitoring on Assecure the World. So when persons do their customs declarations, we are able to see these entries, especially for items in which we have a particular interest in. So for the scheme itself, we are working collaboratively with customs, with the Customer Excise Division, and their role is to either confiscate or detain products that are not biodegradable, and our role is to verify if products are biodegradable. So you may ask, how do we know if products are biodegradable? So what we do, we look for certification marks, because there are certification bodies that indicate products are biodegradable. We also are asking importers to bring in the necessary information or documents to verify if their products are biodegradable. So these are some of the conformity assessment mechanisms we have used for the program to ensure that the right packaging material comes in. And the sources of the documentation has to be from accredited sources. For example, an accredited lab. So any lab we will not receive a report from any lab. In addition, there are recognized certification bodies that certify biodegradable products, and they issue conformity certificates, and we utilize these certificates and or test reports to verify if particular products conform, because we don't have the capacity in-house to do our testing itself as yet. So what we do is we are utilizing a system called supplier declaration of conformity. So the supplier, in short, is declaring that this product conforms to the scheme, and we also verify the authenticity of the documents that are submitted by importers.
Talk to us about this scheme. I suspect you've already started to sort of highlight to us a little bit of how it works. But I'm sure that it takes a bit more than of course, working with the port, certain checkpoints, working in certain labs. What is the details of the biodegradable certification scheme? How does it really work in detail?
In detail. So an importer would import a packaging material. If it's a large importer, chances are they would have their own brokerage, or they have their own broker. So that broker would insert what is called a HS code for a particular product. It could be cups, knives, spoons, etc. As soon as that is inserted in our circular, that item is flagged, meaning the bureau. You have to come to the Bureau of Standards to have your products checked.
Okay.
So the Bureau of Standards has a list of HS codes on our circular. And for those who don't know, our circular is a custom declaration software platform for clearing products and so on the port. So the brokers are the ones responsible for making the declarations on behalf of importers. Sometimes persons import small items on Amazon, and when they go to clear it, maybe at Aeropost or some other agency, the person at Aeropost would do the declaration for them.
Okay.
So then their products will be flagged also. So after it is flagged, if that importer is a certified importer, that's why we are trying to push the certification program. That means we'll have already known about these products, have all their documentation in advance. So then it will be easily cleared. And the product would be released as soon as possible. For when persons are not certified, we would have to go and check directly. Or sometimes the customs officer might just detain the products. Sometimes if the customs officer is not too sure, chances are it might be detained. Although we have given them some guidance as to what we are looking for when we do that physical inspection. But a physical inspection is done for the uncertified persons, because there is no prior documentation as per the certification scheme. So in the certification scheme, you would have already submitted the name of your supplier, all the required documentation, so we would have an idea as soon as the product comes in, and we look at the Secure the World program, we look at the entries and so on, we have an idea that that's a product we have already approved.
Does the supplier have to do that every time, or at least come and register with the scheme every time he imports? Or let's say he comes at the beginning of January, or let's say January 1, and he's a part of the certification program, or he gets the certificate. Is it a one-time use import only, or and every time he imports he has to come back for a certificate? Or I, as an importer of biodegradable, once I am registered with the scheme, or once I have done the program to get certification, I can say, well, okay, I can import, supplying you, like you said, with, let's say I'm ordering from Tim and John. I give you Tim and John's information, and then that's it for example for the year. Does it work in that sense?
Yes, it's an annual certification.
Okay.
So every year, one day backwards. So if you're certified on the 28th, on the 27th of that in the same month last year, you'll lose your certification.
Okay.
And you'll have to recertify.
Okay.
Now, if nothing has changed, it's the same supplier, the same set of goods, etc., we'll just renew the certificate.
Okay.
And just receive a new application just for formality.
For the processing.
Yes.
Okay. What is the processing? What is the processing like? What is the application process like to be certified and have a certificate for that program?
Well, it's very simple. First, you intend to import a particular range of products. You get all the various documentation that is required, your test reports or your certificate of conformity, and you would submit these documents together with your application form, and then we would issue the certificate if we accept the documents you have submitted.
Okay.
and you pay your annual fee of $150.
All right. And then with that, I can
You
order
can import any amount
amounts
of,
that I want.
yes, from the same company and a number of times for the year.
Okay. All right. No, that's of course for people who are certified, like let's say the big companies, the supermarkets, those who are into biodegradable products. I know a few of them. We have one or two in the capital. I know there's one on Old Street, and the supermarkets. But let's say, for example, somebody like me. All right, look at me. I go, like you say, on Amazon, or I get a company and I order, the single-use packaging from them. I don't have a certificate because I'm checking. I'm like, well, wait, I don't know about that. You understand? So what happens to somebody like me who has went? I paid for my product. It's here in Dominica, but I don't have a certificate. What happens to somebody like me in that sense?
Well, firstly, you have to hope that it is biodegradable, because there is a ban. And if it is not biodegradable, customs will confiscate it.
Okay.
Plain and simple. Sometimes we customs ask us to inspect physically the products that come in.
Okay.
So it might be held at the port. Some persons, the customs might tell persons, will tell persons, ask the bureau to inspect it, and we will come to the port and actually inspect it. And
Okay.
if it's biodegradable, then we'll tell customs that it's biodegradable,
Okay.
and we can provide the backup for that.
Okay. Okay. So I've imported biodegradable items, forks, spoons, cups, and I'm good to go. What do I have to do from there? Do I come up to the bureau? Does the bureau have, let's say, like a one-time issue import document, or a one-time issue certificate, for example, where I can probably pay a small fee and get my get my items off the port? Does something like that work as well?
Well, it's a very good idea, but that is not in place at the moment.
Okay, all right.
So we just have the
annual
for the annual.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, sir. All right. So we're speaking with Mr. Anselm of the Bureau of Standards, single-use food packaging, right here on the program Standards in the Spotlight. We're gonna take a small breather, and we will come back to the program right here on DBS.
Getting a full gallon of fuel or the exact weight of your purchase of fresh produce? Make sure you're getting what you pay for. Look out for the Bureau's green sticker at fuel pumps or anywhere you come in contact with a scale. The Bureau's green sticker means tested, verified, and certified. And you're getting a gallon for gallon and pound for pound. From city to countryside, the Bureau's green sticker guarantees safe, fair trade wherever you go. Visit www.dominicanstandards.org or call 235-1592. If you have a scale which has not been verified, please contact us.
Welcome back to Standards in the Spotlight on DBS Radio. Our topic for tonight, environmentally friendly single-use food packaging. So your single-use forks, single-use knives, single-use cups, single-use plates, items like that. You go to a restaurant and you only use it once and you can throw it away, and you don't have to worry that it's going to harm the environment, okay, because it is biodegradable. Mr. Anselm, of course, gave us a beautiful breakdown of what biodegradable means. It's just a nice technical way of saying it can decompose. So I know those of you who do in composting, so It's just basically a form of composting, but takes a little bit longer. But it's basically that. Mr. Anselm, let's continue. Independence is here, and right after Independence, we're gonna go straight into Carnival, because from one season to the next. We're focusing on Independence, and they're coming up, and many retailers, food vendors, restaurants, food processors, they're gonna be stocking up on containers, especially with the fact that a lot of people they've been going for a bit of trouble with ordering and shipping, and we know the whole stuff with that. Containers, cups, utensils. I want us to talk to them, the big companies, the small companies, possibly even the individuals who will be, of course, stocking up. The people who are doing their little Airbnbs at home and so on. What I want us to talk to them. What advice do you have for them? What would you want to tell them as we're getting set for the Independence season, Mr. Ansel?
Well, firstly, I want to identify a list of single-use packaging materials.
Okay, all right.
So there are cutleries, knives, forks, spoons, even spokes, which is the spoon and the fork together. Bowls, lids, cups, and various food containers with different compartments. So these are some of the items that are targeted for the ban.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, Custom has implemented a zero import duty for these packaging materials. So what I like to do is encourage importers to, firstly, if you are unsure of what to import, contact the Bureau of Standards. Firstly. And for those who wish not to contact the Bureau of Standards, let me just give us some advice on the list of certification bodies that can be used to determine if a product is biodegradable. So firstly, there is TUV Austria. That is a certification body that deals with compostable materials, and it's a recognized body by the Bureau of Standards. There's also BPI, which is the Biodegradable Product Institute, based in the US. There's also the USDA certified BioBase. In addition, there is DIN CertCo and VinCot. Now, the various agencies I mentioned are certification bodies. They actually certify biodegradable products. So if you're importing products and the logos of the companies I mentioned are on the products or on the packaging materials, on the boxes, etc., then it is safe to import these types of products.
Okay.
Because they are in fact biodegradable. In addition, if you're importing, you could also ask the supplier for a test report for your products. So if these products are not certified by any of the agencies I mentioned, the supplier overseas, you need to ask them for a test report. And the test report could reveal two different things. It could reveal the rate of decomposition, meaning that the product was placed in a particular environment and it disintegrated X amount of days, X amount of percentage. So that is the rate of decomposition. So after 144 days, 60% disintegration of the product. In addition, another test report will reveal the composition of the material. What it is made of in terms of organic or inorganic. So what we are looking for is 90% and above organic. So the test report should reveal that the product you have imported is 90% organic.
Okay.
So we have the certificates of conformity from the certification bodies or the test reports. So you need to ask your suppliers for that type of information when you intend to import. So that is the advice I wish to give our importers. In addition, there are products that that are PLA. So for persons importing the cups, the lids, domes, etc., you should look for that recyclable triangle on the product, where there's a number 7 in the middle and the word and the letters PLA written at the bottom.
Okay.
So whenever you see that symbol on various products, that's a symbol indicating that that product is actually biodegradable, because PLA means polylactic acid. So these are some of the things you should importer should look for on the images of the products if they are receiving images from overseas and there are no samples.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I have a question. Does the Bureau or can the Bureau recommend to importers certain companies who have those products selling, and tell them, okay, look, Mr. Anselm has a biodegradable company that does biodegradable stuff. They are based out of this country, or a list of companies, of course, not of course showing any preferential treatment, who are in conformity with the exact requirements that you just said. Can the Bureau suggest or recommend some companies to customers or importers and say, well, okay, we know these companies A to F, they are in compliance. Can the Bureau do that?
Well, as a standard setting body, we usually state the requirements.
Okay.
And not just the companies.
Okay.
Because sometimes maybe a company could be non-compliant or lose their certification, for example.
Okay,
what we would do is to promote the requirements of the products and what to look for in various products.
Okay.
But we would not promote a particular company.
Okay. All right.
Yes. I also like to mention that bagasse products are very, very good.
What are bagasse products?
These are products made of corn, cane, sugar cane.
Okay, all right.
And so on.
Okay.
So, and there are a number of products like this, or there are a number of soup bowls, and we have already started importing these types of products. So, the market generally has a large number of compliant products. So, it's just a matter of getting more of these products on various from the various suppliers.
All right. Now, of course, looking for the requirements, some of them that you just said. How can customers make sure, like they want to make sure, okay, you know what I'm ordering is the correct thing? Make sure that the single use packaging that they are buying is approved by the Bureau, because you've listed some of the requirements, but remember, the Bureau itself has to also comply with not just local standards, but with also international standards. Over the programs we've spoken about some of those international standards. The approval by the Bureau, how can a customer make sure that they are in compliance with the Bureau as well? Well,
firstly they need to inform us of the products they tend to import and to submit the right documentation.
Okay.
Because we go by the document that is submitted, and we have strict requirements for the documents that we receive. We ensure it comes from an accredited lab. So when test reports are submitted, we look at the name of the laboratory, and we ensure that it is part of ILAC, which is an international accreditation agency for that particular lab. So we ensure that the test reports we receive come from accredited institutions. And as I mentioned earlier, the number of certification bodies we have confidence in, like the BPI, which is the Biodegradable Products Institute in the US. There is TUV Australia, and I mentioned some other certification bodies earlier on. So these agencies, we know for sure, they certify food grade and high quality products. Yeah, so that is our quality assurance for the public.
All right. All right. So, if you do intend on bringing in these materials, I hope that you all have been listening and listening carefully. Of course, this program is live. It's also live on YouTube. It's also live on Facebook. You can always play it back after the live ends so that you can, if you maybe missed it, and get exactly what you're going to be needing in order to be not just compliant with yourself, but you have to be in compliance with the Bureau as well, because the Bureau is the entity that sets the standards. We're going to take another small break, and when we come back, I want to throw some interesting questions, one or two interesting questions to Mr. Anselm. So stay with us right here on DBS. We'll be right back right after this.
Ever stop to wonder if you're really getting a full gallon of fuel or the exact weight of your purchase of fresh produce? Make sure you're getting what you pay for. Look out for the Bureau's green sticker at fuel pumps or anywhere you come in contact with a scale. The Bureau's green sticker means tested, verified, and certified. And you're getting a gallon for gallon and pound for pound. From city to countryside, the Bureau's green sticker guarantees safe, fair trade wherever you go. Visit www.dominicanstandards.org or call 235-1592. If you have a scale which has not been verified, please contact us.
Welcome back to Standards in the Spotlight, right here on your nation station, DBS Radio. We are talking about biodegradable, single-use food packaging, environmentally friendly, single-use food packaging tonight, right here on Standards in the Spotlight. The guest is Mr. Heinrich Anselm, Technical Officer for Quality, the Certification Unit at the Dominica Bureau of Standards. Okay, so Mr. Anselm, I want to ask you, I am sure since 2019, everybody was, they were used to their styrofoam, their plastic cups, and then, bam, things had to change. People was like, and I'm sure people were vexed about that, because it was like, boy, all you just... just to say it in, on our local layman terms, they were vexed, they were upset. I'm sure there were some challenges that were faced. What were some of the challenges that were faced at the beginning? Let's talk about the beginning, and then we'll move on from there. What were some of the challenges that were faced at the beginning, Mr. Ansel?
Well, at the beginning, sourcing the right alternative was a very big challenge for a number of importers. And I know you can recall sometimes they were packaging material and the food kind of fell off or it got soaked up. So importers were really struggling to get the right packaging material, and we work with a number of importers to source the required packaging material that will actually hold foods and sauces and gravies, etc. And so that was the first challenge. Then a number of importers had difficulties in getting their test reports.
Okay.
Because it was something new. I mean, the number of you asking your supplier for a test report for a product, supplier is not sure which report to send, etc. So, in the early days, the early importers that was in this part of the scheme, they had difficulties in obtaining test reports. Sometimes they submitted the wrong test report. Test reports on food safety rather than the composition and the rate of biodegradability. So these are some of the early hiccups. And then you had the time differences for persons importing from China. When they submit the wrong report to get the next report, and they want to ship quickly. So these were some of the early challenges. We also had some of our certified clients changing the scope of their certification, meaning you certified for cups and plates, and then you want to bring knives and so on without informing the bureau. So these little hiccups in the early days were, and right now we have ironed out all these challenges. Then we have the issue of persons mistaking single-use and reusable, because the ban is on single-use. Sometimes persons import for weddings, and their products might get confiscated because you have to decide. There is a gray area between deciding if the product is reusable or if it will be disposed after the wedding immediately.
Okay.
So there's that gray area for the single use and the reusable. But what we deem to be reusable are the hard plates, the hard containers, the thick plastics, the PET, the fives and so on. These are the reusable ones, microwavable containers, etc.
Okay.
So we deem these products to be reusable. The other smaller glasses, etc., that can be easily disposed and they are not biodegradable, then it's a no-no for us.
I have an interesting question to ask you. Were people still trying to, and I say trying, and probably even trying to sneak in some of the styrofoams and the plastics, in, and were people still trying to do that, or did you all have any issues, if anything like that?
Well, for styrofoams, I can safely say no.
Okay, all right.
There was no sneaking of styrofoams. Or if styrofoams came into the country, it might not be for illegal port or whatever. So it would be some kind of whatever means. But for styrofoams, no. The other type of packaging material, sometimes persons are unaware of the scheme and unaware of the ban. So sometimes they were shocked at the port when the products when the items were confiscated. Because I believe the awareness of the ban, we could have done a little bit more in terms of in terms of publicizing the ban and so on. So a number of persons are not aware of the ban, or some persons even claim that they have no idea that there is a ban, and they have imported something for the church or a wedding, etc. Or they say it's a small item, it's a small small
quantity
consignment and so on. But I mean, a ban is a ban. So these are some of the challenges, and sometimes we still encounter some challenges like this with persons doing small quantities. Some person might say, well, it's a little birthday party, a wedding, etc. Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, okay, no. I asked you about the challenges in the beginning. Of course, Standards in the Spotlight, this program on DBS Radio, I know it has been one of the ways in which information, and more importantly education, has gone out to the public. It's also on YouTube, it's on Facebook. I know the Bureau has their Facebook page, their Instagram page. Have there been any other challenges later on, like in more recent times, that the Bureau has faced? And if any, what are the more, the more common ones that you've observed since the program, more specifically referring to, in recent times, of let's say over the past year, 2 years, maybe even over the last 3 years?
Well, in recent times, the main challenge is persons importing small quantities
Okay.
and going on Amazon and just purchasing products that they like to see. For example, for a wedding, they might a set of cups and plates and so on, and it is looking
Be
pretty,
nice,
etc.
yeah.
They just import it, and with total ignorance of the ban on single-use packaging materials. And but I must say the scheme has actually, we have ironed out most of the challenges we have received from since 2019, and the scheme is, I will say, functioning adequately for the ban. We can do more, but I believe the scheme has reduced the volume of non-compliant packaging material.
So we can say that the scheme is working and has been working.
Yes, I can safely say that.
All right. Now, somebody's listening, and they're a company. They're going to have they're going to open up something to do for the season. Right after the season, Carnival is on our chest one time, and they tell themselves, boy, why have to go and spend a big $150? And I will tell you, Mr. Ansel, people listening to the radio, and they'll be like, boy, let me tell you two things some people may be saying, I like to play the challenger here. What they say, devil's advocate, something like that. Yeah. Somebody's listening, and they're telling themselves, boy, but Mr. Anselm, he's really talking some good stuff. I want to help in the environment, and it's a one time, but for me to pay $150, boy, that is a lot, that is plenty, Now, I wanted to tell somebody with that mindset, how has the certification program, how has it actually helped? Because the Bureau wouldn't have started a program, or this program would not have been started, and in fact continued, because look at what year we're in. We're in 2026. This started since 2019. All right, we're 7 years. This program is still continuing after 7 years. Obviously, it must be having an impact on Dominica. How has the certification program been having an impact on Dominica?
Well, firstly, I will say that we have more biodegradable alternative packaging material and increase. So right now we have bagasse forks, spoons, bowls for soup. You might see the brown kind of container.
Yes,
these are bagasse products.
Yes.
And more environmentally friendly products. So even our hotels or restaurants can boast that they have some environmental responsibility by purchasing these items. I know places like maybe Secret Bay and Jungle Bay and so on, you will see that type of packaging materials there, and that it will fit with their eco brand.
Yes.
So I know for sure for the tourism sector, it augurs well for the tourism sector when our tourism establishments utilize the biodegradable packaging material. It is good for our branding and our image. So that is one benefit. Then the landfill, for sure. I'm sure if we call Mr. Florian, for his surname, Mitchell, right now, he will tell us that there's better management at the landfill because of the type of materials that are coming into the landfill. They are more compostable, more biodegradable. We also have an increase in the PLA products. This is plastic glasses, etc. And You will see them with the smoothies. You drink your smoothies, you buy your little drinks, etc. So there's an increased use of biodegradable single-use packaging material.
Okay.
And I also believe there's some sense of awareness on a national level that, products, persons keep calling the bureau, assessing their packaging materials to see if it's biodegradable, etc. And there's that talk about the biodegradable program. So I would say that is some of the takeaways from the scheme.
All right. All right. We were winding down our program tonight here, which is very interesting. So next time you go to the shop or you go to let's say the restaurant and you're coming with a takeaway or soup, make sure that it is biodegradable. Mr. Ansem gave a breakdown of some of the labels that you should look for on your packages. Restaurants, retailers, the food vendor on the side. We have a lot of food processors who are Independence is coming up. People are going to be coming down to visit. What is one key message you want to leave with these specific entities, especially as the Independence season is coming up, about the biodegradable certification scheme?
Well, the one key message is that every food vendor, every retailer, they have an environmental responsibility to Dominica. And the easiest way you can contribute to protection of the environment is by purchasing, selling, using biodegradable packaging material. As a Dominican, that is your responsibility, because after this season, there's a probability that you might go to the beaches, go to the rivers, etc. And if you're a retailer selling the various types of materials that are conformant, and you happen to see them accidental into the environment, you have no fear that that particular product will disintegrate over time, in quick time, compared to the non-biodegradable products. So that is your contribution. As a food vendor, you want to show the visitors you are environmentally friendly. So when you serve in a biodegradable cup or you give a soup in a bagasse container, it clearly shows that you care for the environment. And we might have a number of visitors that are eco-conscious. Mm-hmm. And these types of visitors, they usually patronize persons that are eco-friendly. So one way of attracting this type of vendors is by utilizing the biodegradable packaging materials. So that is all I have to say in closing, is to encourage all persons that utilize or import to, as we'll say, as the slang goes, to do the right thing.
Doing the right thing, and of course, obviously, in doing the right thing, there's a process, a procedure to do the right thing. I want to get my certificate. For example, I'm just using me. What do I have to do? What's the procedure to apply? And at the end of it, I have my biodegradable certificate in hand, and I know from now until next year I can securely and comfortably order my biodegradable items. What is the procedure for applying for the certificate of approval?
Well, our application form is the start. Mm-hmm. It can be accessed online on our website, and you can contact the bureau and it can be emailed to you. So after filling out the application form, which entails the name of your supplier, the certification body that is certifying the product, mm-hmm. or the test report, the address of the test report, of the lab, providing the test report and your address, etc. After you have completed the form, you would now have to submit the accompanying documentation, either a test report or a certificate of conformity from the various agencies I mentioned earlier that certify products. After that is done, we do a review of your documentation for authenticity. Some certificates, their numbers can be accessed from the certificate body. So in other words, persons can just make a certificate number, etc., and we cannot verify it.
Okay. So you cannot fake it.
Not at all.
You cannot fake it. All right.
So the certification number, we would access it online and we would see the company you're purchasing from or the manufacturer. And for the test reports, we would look at the lab accreditation to an international body or a regional body, etc. After that is done, we would do our own documentation for the process. Then we would issue a certificate if all documentation is current and also the application form is filled completely. Then we would contact the importer to come and collect the certificate if it is not done on the same day. And then they would pay their $150, and then they'd be part of our database. And when the entries come in, we would immediately release their products.
All right. So so also we're encouraging importers to, when they're coming to apply, have all their information ready. The importer, if they have the city, whatever information from the importer, the company that they're importing from, the labs as well, whatever letters you need, just come with all of that one time. Of course, throughout the program, you highlighted exactly those items and those documents that would be needed, and then they just come, apply, and is it something with, if an importer has all the documents, like now, let's say they come at 8 o'clock, and everything is in check, can they get their certificates the same day?
Yes.
Okay.
But that also depends on the final signature from the officer in charge.
Okay.
So the officer in charge is present and is able to sign the certificate. It can be done at the same day.
All
Yes.
right. So, all right. Well, Mr. Ansem, we've come to the end of our very, very, very informative program tonight, right here on DBS Radio. Thank you very much, Mr. Ansem, for joining us, sharing this, very important piece of information for our listeners tonight. We're on radio, we're on the 2 television channels, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook tonight. You can always play it back, especially if you're on YouTube and Facebook. And if you missed something, it's available right there. Mr. Ansem, thanks for joining us on the program. Thank you.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
All right. And listeners, as we prepare for the independent season, as we continue to prepare, let's remember that, the choices in single-use food packaging do not just affect our business, but it affects the environment. Single-use biodegradable items, they break down, they decompose, and it is environmentally friendly. If you are a retailer, a food vendor, a restaurant owner, a food processor, or somebody just generally listening to the program tonight and say, that's a good business idea. They can come, I can start a company, or I can have a company where I can, sell biodegradable items. Please make sure that you give the Bureau of Standards a call, check them out. You have to make sure that you're certified, and you must be approved by the Bureau of Standards. If you want to learn more about biodegradable certification, you can of course reach out to the Bureau, visit their website dominicastandards.org, give them a call 235-1592, email info@dominicastandards.org. Check them out on Facebook, check them out on Instagram. It's at Dominica Bureau. Thank you for listening tonight. It's been another very informative and educational program, Standards in the Spotlight. Until next time, stay safe. Let's continue to keep working so that we can continue to have a cleaner, greener Dominica. This has been Standards in the Spotlight.